Rachel Reeves is easily the worst chancellor in living memory, and the cringe-inducing bombshells just keep on dropping. Why does Rachel Reeves still have a job? It's not just what she's announcing in her spring statement this week, jobs cuts and higher taxes, that should have her sacked. It's the fact she's a ligger, she's greedy, and she's totally devoid of sense. Why? Because just a few months after she, Starmer and various other cabinet ministers were plunged into a damaging freebies row, Reeves has brazenly been at it again. First, we discover the woman, who together with her husband is on a joint income of nearly £400,000, took free £600 seats in a VIP box for a Sabrina Carpenter concert. Nope, I've never heard of her either. She's also taken £276 worth of free theatre tickets, £7,500 worth of free clothes, and a £200 Harrods hamper from the Qatari embassy. Even some of her own cabinet colleagues are now disgusted at what she's done, the major one being Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander, who threw the Chancellor under a bus yesterday, saying she, personally, had never taken free tickets since becoming an MP and that she was far too busy working to attend concerts. I actually haven't been to any concerts at all because I'm very, very busy, said Ms. Alexander. I've got to prioritize my time, and when I've got time off, spending it with my husband and family is a more attractive option to me. What is it with this woman? Has she no respect for the high office she holds? Has she no respect for herself? Does she not see this kind of greed brands her the worst kind of freeloader and a laughing stock not to be taken seriously? And yes, I know MPs are allowed by parliamentary rules to take freebies as long as they're properly declared and as long as public perception is taken into account. Well, first, they shouldn't be. And second, I'll tell you what the public perception is here. It's that Reeves is a brazen ligger who'll take any freebie she can get. The perception is that she's using her position as Chancellor to get free stuff. It's that she's not just greedy, insensitive and foolish, but she clearly has zero judgment about how the British people will see this at a time she's about to heap even more taxes they can't afford onto them, all because she's completely ballsed up the economy. And just to feed into the stupidity argument, her ludicrous excuse for taking the swanky box at the O2 concert was that it was the right thing to do for my security. Sorry, but Rachel Reeves wouldn't know the right thing if it smacked her in the face. No, the right thing would have been not to take the free tickets. The right thing would have been to pay for them herself, as she and her husband have a vast combined income that puts them head and shoulders above the majority in this country. The right thing to do would have been not to embarrass the government after the freebie scandal that engulfed it just a few months ago. A government spokesman said this week the rules surrounding ministerial gifts had been strengthened to ensure transparency. Well, clearly Reeves didn't get the memo, or maybe she thinks the rules don't apply to her. Either way, her arrogance is towering. But then, can we be surprised at her skanky behavior when we have a leader who has done exactly what she has, taken a free box at Arsenal, and then also insisted it was about his security. Starmer also took thousands of pounds worth of free clothes and specs from one of Labour's biggest donors, Wahid Ali. The fact is the PM can't sack Reeves for embarrassing the government because he's done what she has. Do you remember how the Labour Party howled and screeched whenever anyone in the last Tory government took freebies? They almost burst blood vessels in their condemnation. But the minute they got into power, all the anger was forgotten and people like Starmer and Reeves couldn't wait to grab what they could get. It's a terrible look, and the fact Reeves still can't see it shows just how ill-suited she is for government. But of course she's not the only freeloader in high office. It's been revealed that Angela Rayner, the Minister for Housing, Communities and Local Government, went on a taxpayer-funded visit to Ethiopia. Of course, the first question has to be what possible business she could have in Ethiopia that was relevant to her job as housing minister and that would justify spending £20,000 of taxpayers' money on it? But while she was there, she also requested a private safari trip and had to be told by the civil service that taxpayers would absolutely not be funding that. Why did a government minister have to be told that was wrong? Well, this is the same Angela Rayner who accepted £3,550 worth of free clothes from Lord Ali and a stay in his New York apartment. And remember, it was her who had the brass neck to call the Tories scum? She needs to take a long, hard look in the mirror. As does Reeves. She's not just the worst chancellor in living memory. She lied about her qualifications for the job. She lied about the fictional black hole which the Office for Budget Responsibility has refused to acknowledge ever existed. And thanks to her incompetent stewardship of the economy, she has now created her own black hole because she's borrowed and spent more than she needed, with the result being zero growth and a flatlining economy. And on top of all that catastrophe and inadequacy, the hypocrite Reeves still thinks it's okay to reward herself with freebies?